Welcome to Origami a Story. My name is Jess. Today you're going to hear a story about Mary Lou Williams, who was a jazz pianist, composer, and an arranger. She was known as the First Lady of Jazz, and Duke Ellington once said about her that she is like soul on soul. But one of the most amazing things about Mary Lou is that she became a professional pianist at age 12. And we're going to read a story that imagines what that was like. We don't have all the details about her early years, so the author had to imagine a couple of things. But it is true that she was an amazingly talented musician. And after the story, we are going to learn how to make an origami piano, okay? All right, so let's get started. We're going to read The Little Piano Girl, written by Anne Ingalls and Mary Ann McDonald, and illustrated by Giselle Potter. And I want to say a big thank you to Houghton, Mifflin, and Harcourt for allowing us to read this aloud. All right, let's get started. Let's hear the story of Mary Lou Williams, jazz legend. All right. The night she left Georgia, Mary couldn't see anything. The lights out the train window, but she could hear. She listened to the train and clapped out its sound on her knees. She sang the sound of its whistle. Chugga, 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 toot, toot. The train went faster, leaving home behind. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Mary clapped and sang softly so that Mama and her sister, Mommy, could sleep. But by the time they arrived at the big station in Pittsburgh the next morning, Mary had sung herself to sleep too. More than anything else, Mary loved music. Back in Atlanta, her mama had played the organ for their church. Sometimes she played at home too. When Mary was 3, Mama played a tune holding Mary on her lap. As the last notes sounded through the room, Mary reached out and played them back to her mother. Mama stood up and Mary went tumbling. Mama cried to her neighbors, "Come, hear this! Come hear my baby girl play!" After that, Mary was always at the keyboard. When she pounded the keys, she made thunder. When she tapped them, it rained. Sounds rose up from her playing, soft like the sun beaming, sharp like frogs calling, lonely like train whistles in the night. All from a place safe and secret inside her. But when the family moved from Atlanta to Pittsburgh, the organ stayed behind. "It's just too big and heavy," Mama said. "We'll have to sell it." They took their Victrola with the megaphone so Mary could listen to music. But without her organ, how could she play? The Smoky City, that's what people called Pittsburgh. A war was going on, and the nation needed steel for ships and guns. There were jobs in the Pittsburgh steel mills. Their smokestacks poured fumes into the sky, high above the Monongahela River and the Allegheny Mountains, and all the wooden houses tucked in around them. Aunt Hattie and Uncle Joe Epster lived in one of those houses. They welcomed Mary and her mother and her sister, but the neighbors didn't want any newcomers, and someone threw bricks through the Epsters' window. Others called the family mean names. The neighbor girl with the long curls shut the door in Mary's face. "My mother says not to play with you," she said. 7-year-old Mary didn't have shoes for her first day at Lincoln School, so she borrowed her mother's. Mama had dainty feet, size 2. Mary's heels stuck out the back of her mother's shoes. A big, scary girl pulled her hair. "Where'd you get those funny shoes?" Ugly names and cruel words. Mary called them bad sounds, and she taught herself to play them out. Even without a keyboard, she could do it. Tapping on the tabletop, She beat back the bad sounds and sang out her sadness. She crooned and whispered and shouted out until her spirit was lifted free. No one remembers exactly how it all started, how Mary began playing piano again. One story goes like this. She was picking dandelions one day. Lucille, a lady everyone knew from church, walked by. "Say, why aren't you off with your friends?" Lucille asked. Mary just shook her head and couldn't say. Lucille shifted the bag on her hip. "I've got some ice cream in this bag," she said. "If you don't come and help me eat it, it'll melt." Mary's big brown eyes grew wide. "Yes, ma'am," she said. She sat down at the table in Lucille's house. A lace tablecloth covered it, and the dishes all matched. Best of all, a shiny piano stood in the corner of the room. Mary's shy eyes stole glances at it. "You play the piano, Annie?" Lucille asked. Mary nodded. "Okay, girl," said Lucille. "Play me a tune." Mary sat down and lifted the cover. She drew a shaky breath, and her fingers found the keys. They hadn't forgotten a thing. Soon she was riding those keys, playing a tune that rumbled along like a freight train. "Lord have mercy," said Lucille. The teacup jumped in her hand. She went to the stairs and called up, "Sisyphus, come down here and hear this child play." But Sisyphus was already halfway down the stairs. Mary's music bounced right out the windows of Lucille's house to the ears of all the people sitting on the front steps. They gathered round to hear the heartbeat of Mary's music, the bittersweet ballads, the sourful spirituals. "Play one for me, baby," they begged. "Play Roll, Jordan, Roll." Soon people were paying for her to play, as much as 50 cents. Mary hid away all the money they gave her. She saved it for shoes. At school, Mary's teacher, Miss Milholland, hummed marches for her. "Can you play that for the children when it's time to go upstairs?" So Mary did. But sometimes she slipped a boogie beat into those marches. The children stopped marching and danced on the stairs. It seemed everyone knew about the little piano girl. Everyone but her family. They found out when she broke her arm. Mammy balanced a bottle on top of a wooden box. "Jump over it," she dared Mary. When Mary fell, pain shot through her arm like lightning. In the weeks while her arm was healing, people came and knocked on her front door. "Where's the little piano girl?" they asked. "Can't she come to my house and play?" Fletcher Burley, Mary's sandy-haired stepfather from Georgia, bought her a player piano. He put it in their parlor. Fletcher bought ragtime piano rolls by James P. Johnson and Jelly Roll Morton so Mary could listen to them. In his deep, mellow voice, he sang along to "My Mama Pinned a Rose on Me." Mary listened. "Now play it back to me, sugar," he said. She did. She watched the piano play too, and her fingers found the same notes. All she had to do was hear a tune or see it played, and she would wrap her fingers around it and never let go. Soon Mary could tease a tune out of nowhere. Sassy sounds slipped into her playing, sounds that surprised her. Truck drivers stopped in the street when they heard Mary play. Passing policemen paused. Mary bashed beauty out of those piano keys. Her notes took wing over her East Liberty neighborhood till Pittsburgh's millionaires heard them in their mansions. When Mary cut loose, people couldn't stay still. They set to clapping, tapping, finger snapping. Her blue notes made people want to cry at just how hard life can be. Her crazy chords made people shimmy their shoulders and shake their heads high and happy. "Play it, Mary," folks called out. "Play the tiger rag." And Mary would play. A deep, powerful bass with one hand and lay a lacework of edgy blues over the top of it with the other. Her music rolled and slid and jumped along, zigzagging and giant stepping, until it grew too big for where she was. For almost 60 years, Mary traveled from Kansas City to Paris. She boogied and bebopped with the best, with all the kings and dukes and earls of jazz. And while her fingers hopscotched across the keyboard, banishing the bad sounds, her toes tapped time in beautiful shoes. And that is the story about Mary Lou Williams. So, since we've heard about her amazing piano playing, let's learn how to make a paper piano that probably won't sound like hers, but will still be fun. All right? All right, I'm gonna tilt my camera down now so you can see. All right, now to make our origami piano, we're going to need a square piece of paper. Now that's a piece of paper where all the sides are equal, okay? All right, I'm going to turn mine over because I want that side to be on the outside of my piano. And then I'm going to fold it in half like this. There we go. All right, so fold it in half once. Then you're going to fold it in half again. All right. So then you have a smaller square here. All right. Now we're going to open it up and we're going to take the outsides and fold them to this center line here, okay? There. And there. All right, like that. Now we're going to open them up, and this is the really cool fold. You're going to stick your finger into the outside here, and you're going to push down on this until you get a little triangle like that. And then you're going to press down. All right. And then we're going to open the other side and do the same thing. So you stick your finger in all the way to the back corner and push down like that. And then press down. All right. And then it'll look like this. Now we need some keys for our piano, right? So there's a part right here in the bottom that we're going to fold up halfway to the bottom of these triangles right here. So we're going to fold it right here like that. All right. And then we're going to fold it up again like that. Okay? All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these outsides and we're going to fold them in. There we go. And fold the other side in. So it's like that. And press it down all down the side. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to open it up a little bit and our keys come down, and then you have your piano. And maybe you want to draw some keys on it like I did on this one over here. All right. And that is your origami piano. So, thank you guys so much for joining me to learn about the amazing Mary Lou Williams and learn how to make an origami piano. So I hope you guys get out there and make some music in the world, and have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Origami in a Story. Bye!